Shout out to each and every one of you guys. I hope you guys are having a blessed day. 2:56 in the day. Aquaman's Jason Momoa says he owes everything to Zack Snyder, and he really goes into some detail on that. So first of all, Momoa says about Zack Snyder, he had it all planned out. He had the plan for Justice League. I really do believe that Cyborg and Wonder Woman and all that has been shaped is because of Zack. I'm definitely here and owe everything to that man because I wouldn't have been cast if it was not for him. I think that it was a genius idea to go in this direction with this character. It has been an honor. I've had people from all over the world, people from Argentina, people from Colombia, Singapore, Malaysia, Mexico, just all over, telling me how crazy and cool this is to have a brown-skilled superhero. Whether a Snyder Cut of Justice League exists, the director's influence certainly continues, both when it comes to the choice of casting Momoa as Arthur Curry, Aquaman, and an executive producer credit on Aquaman film. Still, Momoa's comments about how instrumental Snyder was to his getting to be Aquaman drives home that the director's fingerprints remain on the characters, the films, and the actors themselves. It's something Momoa has spoken about before as well. When something happens like that, I really couldn't give two so-and-sos about the movie. Zack is someone who kind of saved my life. This opportunity to be where I am is all because of him. So if you like Aquaman, you can pretty much thank Zack Snyder instantly, because none of it would have come true if it weren't for him. Fans can also thank Snyder for the diversity Momoa brings to the Aquaman role. I was in shock because I know what Aquaman originally looked like, Momoa said. Snyder really liked what I did with Game of Thrones, and he really wanted someone who was a bit of an outlaw, someone who was an outsider, or half and half. He knew I was from Hawaii and raised in Iowa. And when it comes to giving actors who might not have had otherwise been considered a chance in the world of Aquaman, Momoa took a page from Snyder's book himself. Tamura Morrison, who plays Aquaman's father in the film, credits Momoa with his role in the film. Jason gave me the nod for Aquaman just as an opportunity to meet me. I think once World Warriors really moved him in a way, both in terms of his culture and his own identity. Morrison, who himself is Maori descent, shared with New Zealand's stuff. I think it shook him up a bit. I even heard him say a few words to his kids when they visited the set. This is the fellow who get me into the business, kids. He really respected my performance. He added, he's taking care of me, that's for sure. So, Jason Momoa really respects Zack Snyder, and those are just a few extra words. Of course, we just realized Race Fisher was on the set of Aquaman for its premiere. No, he wasn't on the set, but he was there for the premiere of Aquaman, supporting Jason Momoa 100%. And I do really believe Ray Fisher should get his just due with Cyborg. I'm hoping whoever comes on to direct Cyborg can really carry on Zack's vision for the character. It's a fantastic character. Okay, so this is what Jason Momoa had to say about upcoming movies, at least what he would like to do with them. So in response to continuing with Justice League 2, he says, absolutely, I love working with all my castmates on Justice League, but I feel like Flash is probably going to get a solo movie. Flashpoint and Ezra Miller need to happen. His character deserves his own movie. Wonder Woman 2 is on the way, so that's phenomenal. I'm not sure what they're doing with Batman. I've heard Henry Cavill is out as Superman, so I don't know the shape of Justice League without Superman and Batman. But the Legion of Doom, seeing all the bad guys together and seeing us come in would be awesome. If that happens, they better let me in. I definitely like coming riding in on a tidal wave to whoop some butt. Momoa would later confirm that he spoke to Cavill and that he is not done with the character, so perhaps there's some hope for the Legion of Doom happening after all. Yeah, Henry Cavill's still, as far as Henry Cavill's concerned, Superman. So I thought this was interesting news. I'll give you a little bit more from this site here, where Jason Momoa talks a little bit more about stuff. So The actual truth is that decisions regarding the future of Superman and which actor plays him will not be made by Cavill or Momoa. The most Cavill can do is be willing to play the role again, but Warner Bros. Has made or will make the final call. Alright, so we don't know if Cavill's out, but at present Cavill's doing some other stuff. It's probably not worth reading too much into Momoa calling the Flash solo movie Flashpoint also. Alright. Warner Brothers doesn't appear to be big fans of team-up films at the moment. This is what they were saying, and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, what I wanted to say to you guys is that, this is the reason for me pushing for the Snyder Cut and not really caring too much about Aquaman at this present point in time, even though I really am excited about what I see. I noticed with certain big channels that once again there is this partisanship going on with these guys, and it's sad. Was looking at the reviews for Aquaman, and it seems as though Aquaman is something like Batman v Superman. It's something like Man of Steel. It's a movie where it has multiple genres mixed into it. That's the thing I liked about Batman v Superman. There was horror in there. There was seriousness. There was a little bit of comedy. There was a little bit of adventure. There was just all these mixture of genres. And it seems as though James Wan loved that thing about Zack Snyder. And James Wan kind of combined all those things to make this movie more than just one genre movie. It's like a movie where there's comedy in certain parts of it. There's, horror in certain parts. There's adventure in certain parts. There's drama in certain parts. So I think that's what James Wan did. So this is definitely a James Wan movie. And that's good to know. I think I saw David, the film junkie, saying that. So it's great to know James Wan got his vision, which means Walter Hamada has some say in that. Which means there is a chance we could get the Snyder Cut. I just want Warner Bros. To come out and say that. And I know there's probably politics going on in the background and certain people who are trying to prevent that from happening. And so that's why it hasn't come out yet. But I don't want to not go see Aquaman. I really would like to go see Aquaman. I'll be honest with you guys. I would love to do it, especially the way how some people are trying to bash it already. I would love to go see it, but I have to keep my guns. I have to keep to my principles. I love that Jason Momoa is stressing on Zack Snyder's stuff, and I'm glad he's keeping the pressure on there. I hope that guys like Ray Fisher would come back out and say some more stuff with Zack, and anybody else who's worked with Zack, they just be more vocal, because I'm telling you, that's the thing we need. We need people to be more vocal, and we have to be uncompromising about certain things. I don't think that Aquaman is going to bomb at the box office, even though I can see certain people's teeth being grinded. They're grinding their teeth, wishing they could say something bad about it, and you can see over and over the compliments are sort of back-ended compliments, even on Rotten Tomatoes. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I know that Film Gob already covered this. Once we're talking about DC films, especially the DCEU particularly, there's this hate with Rotten Tomatoes towards these films, but it's inevitable, folks. It's inevitable. Anyways, let me show you guys what's up. So Aquaman actually has a rating, but of course, as you can see, the rating is falling because the hate is starting to happen. There's the rage and the hate, but it's still pretty high. We have 106 reviews in. They're probably going to get to 200, maybe 300 reviews, so we're about 1/3 of the way. It's at a 70%. 70% of the critics actually like it at a rating, average rating 6.2. The audience hasn't seen it yet. I think some people have actually seen Aquaman already in the United States. I got early screenings to it. But you can see there's the hate coming down on this film. And it's amazing because when you think of Man of Steel is like, now, all these years after, Man of Steel is like this iconic movie, okay? Batman v Superman is now a cult classic. Wonder Woman is probably universally accepted. So when you think of those three movies, you can't think of Suicide Squad per se. Nobody really thinks about that one. And nobody thinks about Justice League, right? But at the end of the day, Those three DCEU movies are iconic. So if James Wan puts out Aquaman and it turns out to be, an iconic movie, I don't know if it'll be iconic, but if it turns out to be that, it's going to be up there with those movies. Batman v Superman. If you ask me what is my best DCEU movies, the best movies in the DCEU, it would be Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, then Wonder Woman. I don't know where Aquaman ranks, but I can tell you that it would be Suicide Squad, then Justice League, I think, something like that. Or Justice League, then Suicide Squad, I think. Anyway, here are some of the critical reviews. Even though this guy's trying to give it honor, listen to what he says. Aquaman is a step towards restoring equilibrium, creating a sprawling undersea world that most closely resembles the Thor franchise in terms of scope, majesty, and happily humor. What's amazing to me is this is a backhanded compliment, because when you start to compare this thing to Thor, I don't care if it's Ragnarok or which Thor, the Dark World, which Thor he said, the Thor franchise, right? This is terrible. And I hope it's nothing like that. Here's another one. It's a backhanded compliment, notwithstanding the inevitable formulaic dialogue. So they immediately start a backhanded comment. And a superabundance of boilerplate superhero action sequences. Aquaman turns out to be, almost despite itself, an engaging undersea extravaganza. Again, backhanded compliment. It's not an undersea extravaganza. He's saying it's almost that. So it's very backhanded. And it's amazing because when you look at these people who are saying these things, you can see they're begrudgingly having to say it's good. They don't want to say it's good, but they have to, because it's just that fantastic, and they know they've never seen anything like it. Aquaman needs its smirking, bear-loving, roadie-looking, Chippendale-chested hero not to save the day, but to remind us that this is stuff is about as goofy as it gets. I don't even know what that means. That is so terrible. I don't even know why that's fresh. So these are the kinds of things that these critics say because what? He said it's just H2OK. Okay? He's trying to make a joke, which somehow doesn't land. Aquaman is as formulaic, excessively thrashy, and mummy obsessed as any other entry in the DCEU. So again, the insults come, which is so funny to me because its visual imagination is genuinely exciting and transportive, and dare I say fun. And so they're using the words fun again. And so you can tell that these critics, their perception of comic book movies is only as far as... Have you guys ever seen Tom and Jerry? Tom and Jerry is what we call your typical cartoon. Tom and Jerry is light. Tom and Jerry is about humor, slapstick humor and action humor, like the Three Stooges. There's no depth to it. Amazingly, these critics seem to enjoy comic book movies that are superficial. The characters are superficial characters. They have a lot of narration to explain what they're doing, so they have to talk what they're going to do, then they have to do what they're going to do, and then they must make sure what they're doing is not something so complex and simultaneously doing something at different times. And don't forget, the movies must be linear. You must be able to follow a character and just keep following that character going. The other thing is, because of tribalism, even if the movies don't do that, because they're bought into a franchise, cough, MCU, because they're bought into a franchise and they're sold over on it and they've been pitched this, they've been sold out, they're willing to, even if the movie's sloppy and it has no streamline effect and it really has no point to it, it's really nihilistic, they're going to actually jump on the bandwagon and say this is the greatest thing of all time. And I give you my perfect example, Avengers. What was it? Let's go. I can't remember. Avengers 3. I can't even remember the name of the thing. What was it? I can't remember. Well, anyway, that Avengers 3, I think it was, which was just ridiculous. Up to this day, I don't even understand why that movie is praised so much. It is overhyped, and it's the biggest crock of crap I've ever seen. But for some reason, these critics buy into it, and it's amazing because it does not follow any of the rules that critics usually use to judge movies. So it was just amazing to me. And that's fandom for you. When you're just a blind fan of something, you're going to heap praise on something that's a pile of crap because you're a blind fan. And that's what happened. And look at this backhanded comment. I am not saying Aquaman is good, but it's extremely watchable. Totally insane good time. So it's not good. So almost all the DC films are not good. Suicide Squad was not a good film. It was a bad movie. Batman v Superman was a bad movie. Man of Steel, a legendary movie, was a bad movie. Justice League was a bad movie. Wonder Woman's the only one, and some critics even called it a bad movie. So at the end of the day, when you look at these guys, they don't know what comic book movies are. Probably most of them have never read a comic book to start with. And if they have, what does it matter? Because some of them have been bought up and they're sold out, and their thing is to pen as worse as possible comments about DC as they can because they're Marvel fans. And that's what you get, Marvel fanboy, Marvel fandom, and that's what's going on in the world today. Here's Mark Ellis. This is what Mark Ellis had to say about this. Mark Ellis is, of course, a Collider dude. It's 2018, and I bought an Aquaman movie. It's Momoa or bust. The more I think about it, the more I like it. And he was sold on Aquaman. He really enjoyed it. And Christian Harloff says, this is from Smojnos, there are a lot of things that work. The writing is the best, though, and there's a lot of repetitive shots. Just barely. It works. So that's what they say. Now, I haven't seen Aquaman, but I just look at how these people tear into these movies. Now, you tell me the Ant-Man and the Wasp 2 was a better movie than Aquaman. Tell me that. In fact, hold on. I'm going to do something better than that. I'm going to look at all the comic book movies this year. Oops. Hold on a second. Let's look at all the comic book movies for 2018. Avengers Infinity War, that's what it's called. Okay. That was Avengers. We had Deadpool 2. We had Venom. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now, quite frankly, I'm going to see that. Nobody's keeping me back from seeing that. Teen Titans Go, The Death of Superman. Okay? These were all the comic book movies for 2018. Right? Am I right or am I wrong? Hold on a second. Let me just have a look. Put Box Office Mojo here. Can I do it by ear, please? Yes, thank you. Okay. 2018. I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay. So, 2018 is what we're looking at. So we had Black Panther in 2018. Then we had Avengers Infinity War. Black Panther was a very, very good movie. No doubt about it. Avengers Infinity War. We also had Deadpool 2, the Ant-Man and the Wasp. We had Solo. We had Solo? That was 2018? Okay. And Solo, we had Venom. So that's what's out there right now. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so, and now we're going to have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and we're also going to have Aquaman. Now, quite frankly, I don't know why all this bashing for Aquaman. Aquaman is going to come out in the United States soon. But this one thing I do know about Aquaman, and I just want to show you, maybe Box Office Mojo has it. Let's see. I don't know, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Doesn't seem to have anything yet. Oh, yes, it has some grosses here. $179 million. That's quite a substantial chunk of money. Where is it coming from? And that is coming from China, ladies and gentlemen. They have it right now at $94.7 million from China, but I think there's a lot more than that. I think it's like 120 something million right now. It's really just passing every single comic book movie. It's already outgrossed any DC comic book movie ever, and now I think it's outgrossing other comic book movies from other franchises. And the point behind it is Aquaman is a big time hit, and it's going to be a big time hit. It's going to make a gazillion dollars. Okay, great. So the question is, Aquaman does very well, fantastic. What do we do as people who want the Snyder Cut? Okay, Aquaman is doing well and will continue to do well. Warner Bros. Has got a hit on their hands. Kudos to them. How do we, as Snyder Cut fans, put pressure on Warner Bros. To ensure that we get the Snyder Cut? Because Jason Momoa is doing his part. He's talking about Zack Snyder every chance he can get. He's talking about the Snyder Cut every chance he can get. What do we do as fans? Well, for those of you out there who are fans, you don't have to do it like how I'm doing it. I'm doing a principle stand in which I'm saying, tell me about the Snyder Cut, Warner Brothers, and then I will go watch your Aquaman. You tell me nothing about the Snyder Cut, I'm not watching Aquaman. Jason Momoa is speaking about the Snyder Cut. Let's be honest here. Jason Momoa is talking about the Snyder Cut, but Warner Brothers is not. They're not saying anything. And the reason they're not saying anything about the Snyder Cut is because not everybody's hand is on deck to do the Snyder Cut. Some directive somewhere, it could be Toby Emmerich, is stalling the Snyder Cut information that Warner Bros. Want to say, we want to give you the Snyder Cut. There is somebody somewhere at a high level that's keeping back this Snyder Cut announcement. And whoever that person is, or whatever clout they have, they're the ones keeping back this whole thing from happening. And whoever they are, I think it's in Warner Bros.' best interest to get rid of those people, or take away their power to be able to veto the Snyder Cut. Because from everything that's pointing to Jason Momoa speaking about the Snyder Cut, to references to the Snyder Cut while the things are going on, to the information that's coming out from the Snyder Cut, how there is a Snyder Cut, and it's not an assembly cut. It's much more than an assembly cut. It's almost a completed cut of Justice League. There may be some VFX still left to be done. There may be some soundtrack pieces to put in here or there, but it's pretty much done. When we deal with that, and the fact that Warner Bros. Is not addressing it at all, like they have not addressed it at all unofficially. The only word we've gotten unofficially, and it's all a rumor, is that certain executives, senior executives, were against it and were like, we're not even going to try and go there. The more we hear, and it could be just a rumor, but the more we hear these kinds of negative feedback on the Snyder Cut, is the more disinterested I will be in anything that Warner Bros. Is putting out there. And that's the thing. Why shoot yourself in the foot? This could have been dealt with months ago. Warner Bros. Could have made a statement or something to the effect that, okay, we've heard the fans, we see your interest in the Snyder Cut, and we will try to address that issue. That's all they had to say. They don't even have to commit to anything. They just need to say, we're going to try and address that issue. They've never put out a single statement on the Snyder Cut. And Jason Momoa is unapologetic, linking Zack Snyder to almost everything, every interview he's been doing. And that says volumes about Jason Momoa. And I really appreciate him as a person for that, because he's showing integrity and moral character, and the fact that he's also grateful to Zack Snyder for what he's done so far. And so this video here is just to, again, re-endorse the fact that I'm glad Jason Momoa is saying this. This could be to the detriment of his Aquaman, actually, because it just gives me more munition to say, Warner Bros., you need to come out there and you need to tell the fans that you are going to do X, Y, and Z with the Snyder Cut. And you have to acknowledge there's a Snyder Cut. So the sooner they do that, the sooner I will watch Aquaman. In the meantime, guess who I'm supporting? And this is one of the biggest ironies of ironies. That Marvel movie, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And I'll tell you why I support that movie. Because it's phenomenal. I just looked at the thing and I was like, it's so phenomenal in the way how they've done the animation. I just have to go see that movie. And it's coming out this weekend. So maybe sometime this weekend I'll go see it. Who knows? I don't have money to see it, but we'll see. In the meantime, if you want to support my channel, just remember, I take donations from via MoneyGram or Western Union. I can provide you guys with the information for that. So if you guys want to donate to my channel, please feel free to do so. Peace. Your boy's gone. Oh, I almost forgot. Verily I say unto you, if you have faith and you don't doubt, you shall not only do what is done to the fig tree, but you shall also say unto a mountain, be removed and cast into the sea, and it shall be done. I don't think whatever you ask in prayer, believing, you shall receive. Remember that. So if you guys want to pray for the Snyder Cut to the God, hey, do so. And you'll get it. Just don't doubt. I'll see you guys later. Peace. I'm out of here.